The story begins in a small African village, nestled on the edge of a sacred lake. The villagers believe that the lake is home to a mystical spirit, known as the Spirit of Water, capable of granting life or taking it away. The main character, Aisha, is a curious 12-year-old girl who lives with her mother near the lake. Aisha loves playing near the water, often spending hours by herself. The elders of the village warn her never to look too deeply into the water, claiming that the spirit might take notice of anyone who approaches the lake with reckless curiosity. Despite the warnings, Aisha is drawn to the lake, mesmerized by the way moonlight dances on the water's surface at night. Strange movements sometimes ripple through the water, like a shadow moving independently beneath the surface. Aisha's curiosity begins to clash with the growing sense of fear that she cannot yet explain. She overhears tales from other villagers about people vanishing after disrespecting the lake, but her youthful innocence and adventurous spirit make her doubt the truth of these stories. One evening, as Aisha sits near the lake, the water reflects not just her own image, but something slightly off, an eerie silhouette that seems to mimic her actions, but with subtle differences. The story's atmosphere is rich with tension, using the natural surroundings, the dense trees, the still water, the gentle night sounds, to foreshadow the supernatural events to come. This first outline sets the stage for Aisha's journey, introducing the magical realism of the Spirit of Water and establishing the central conflict, curiosity versus caution. By the end of this section, the reader senses that the lake is alive in some mysterious way, and Aisha's destiny is beginning to intertwine with its hidden powers. Aisha's fascination with the lake grows each day. One afternoon, as she plays by the water, she hears a soft, melodic whisper, almost like a call from beneath the surface. The sound seems to beckon her, drawing her closer, but she hesitates, unsure if she should respond. Her friend Fatima, who often joins her at the lake, warns her that the water is dangerous and that strange things happen to those who ignore the villagers' warnings. Despite Fatima's advice, Aisha's curiosity pushes her to investigate further. She begins to notice subtle signs, ripples in the water when no wind blows, reflections that linger too long, and shadows that move independently. The elders' stories of the Spirit of Water come back to her, describing how the spirit tests those who approach with desires or fears. Aisha's inner conflict begins to form, part excitement, part fear, as she senses something powerful watching her. By nightfall, the lake seems to take on a life of its own. The water glows faintly in the moonlight, revealing shapes that seem human but not quite. Aisha experiences her first real brush with the supernatural, a sudden pull, as if something beneath the water wants her closer. This moment marks the start of her direct interaction with the spirit. The outline emphasizes tension building, highlighting the interplay between Aisha's adventurous nature and the mystical warnings of the villagers. By the end of this section, readers understand that the lake is not merely a setting. It is a character in its own right, alive and responsive to human emotion. One night, unable to resist, Aisha returns to the lake alone. The moonlight shimmers across the water, creating eerie reflections. Suddenly, the water begins to ripple unnaturally, and a soft voice calls her name. Aisha freezes, her heart pounding. She peers into the lake and sees a girl's figure emerging from beneath the water, resembling herself, but with jet-black eyes and an unsettling expression. The Spirit of Water fully reveals itself for the first time, testing Aisha's bravery. Aisha tries to step back, but a gentle force seems to pull her toward the lake. The reflection mimics her every move, yet in distorted ways, signaling that the spirit is both playful and dangerous. The tension rises as Aisha experiences a combination of fear, awe, and wonder. The villagers' warnings echo in her mind, reinforcing the idea that the spirit is real and unpredictable. This section also delves into the psychological effects on Aisha. Her mind races with questions. Is the spirit trying to harm her, or is it merely curious? Is it a guardian, a trickster, or something darker? The narrative focuses on sensory details, the cool night air, the gentle rustle of leaves, the faint glow of the water, to create a cinematic atmosphere. By the end of this outline, Aisha is aware that she is standing on the threshold of a supernatural encounter, and that her actions will determine how the spirit responds. After the first encounter, Aisha begins to notice changes in herself. She dreams of the lake and the spirit every night, haunted by the girl with black eyes. Her friends and mother notice that she is quieter, often lost in thought, and they become concerned for her safety. Despite growing fear, Aisha cannot resist visiting the lake again. Each visit increases the spirit's presence. Ripples follow her movements, whispers echo in the wind, and shadows dance unnaturally along the shore. The story highlights Aisha's internal struggle. She wants to prove her courage, yet she increasingly understands the danger she faces. Villagers begin to observe her unusual behavior, reinforcing the sense of a communal awareness of the lake's power. Aisha realizes that the spirit may be testing not only her bravery, but also her respect for the sacred waters. Her fear intensifies when she senses that the spirit can influence her thoughts and emotions, subtly drawing her toward the water. This outline emphasizes suspense and the psychological tension of being watched by a supernatural force, making the reader feel Aisha's anxiety and the inescapable pull of the spirit of water. Determined to understand the spirit, Aisha secretly researches old village stories and reads ancient texts passed down through generations. She learns that the spirit of water is selective. It only interacts with those who approach the lake with strong desires, fears, or unresolved emotions. Aisha begins to comprehend that the spirit is not malevolent by nature, but serves as a guardian of balance. It challenges intruders to confront their inner selves. She discusses her discoveries with Fatima, and the two of them devise a plan to respectfully acknowledge the spirit and gain its trust. This outline deepens the mythology of the lake, showing that the spirit operates under rules and traditions, and that understanding these is key to survival. Aisha begins to see her own reflection not merely as herself, but as a potential participant in a supernatural test. The tension here comes from the duality of fear and enlightenment. She must respect the spirit while navigating her own curiosity and courage. One night, Aisha and Fatima approach the lake with deliberate caution. They perform a ritual of respect, bowing and speaking words of acknowledgement to the spirit of water. The water responds gently, rippling in a synchronized motion that feels almost alive. The spirit manifests more clearly, revealing its form with elegance and mystery. It communicates through gestures and subtle sounds, testing Aisha's sincerity. Aisha shows bravery not through recklessness, but by demonstrating understanding, humility, and reverence. This marks the first successful interaction between human and spirit. While the danger has not completely vanished, the spirit's demeanor shifts, indicating cautious acceptance. The narrative here emphasizes ritual, cultural respect, and the importance of harmony with supernatural forces. Readers see that the spirit reacts to intentions rather than actions alone. The spirit of water presents Aisha with a final challenge. She must confront her own desires and fears without succumbing to temptation. If she succeeds, she will earn the spirit's respect and protection. If she fails, the spirit could take her into the lake permanently. Aisha faces visions of her deepest fears and illusions of her heart's desires. The story heightens tension as Aisha navigates the line between fear and control. Her success lies in her ability to remain calm, respectful, and thoughtful, demonstrating emotional maturity beyond her years. This outline stresses character development, internal conflict, and the spirit's role as both teacher and guardian. Aisha's victory is not through physical strength, but through understanding and courage. Aisha informs the village elders of her experiences, recounting the spirit of water's tests and presence. The elders organize a communal ritual to honor the spirit, emphasizing tradition, respect, and community protection. The villagers join Aisha in a display of reverence, chanting and offering symbolic gifts. The spirit observes, responding positively to their unified respect and humility. This communal act reinforces the theme that supernatural forces in folklore thrive on balance between humans and nature. The outline highlights cultural tradition, collective wisdom, and the importance of community in interacting with the supernatural. The spirit of water now represents a protective force rather than a purely frightening presence. Through consistent respect and understanding, the spirit of water fully accepts Aisha and the village. It now interacts only with those who approach the lake with pure intentions. The water glows gently, symbolizing peace and balance. Aisha feels a deep connection to the lake, realizing that fear and curiosity must coexist with wisdom and respect. The villagers continue to honor the lake, ensuring that the spirit remains a guardian and not a threat. This outline sets up the conclusion, emphasizing harmony, the balance of fear and respect, and the integration of supernatural folklore into everyday life. Aisha emerges as a bridge between her people and the mystical force of the lake. The story concludes with a scene at the edge of the sacred lake during a calm night. The moonlight reflects gently on the water's surface, creating a shimmering path that seems to connect the human world with the mystical realm of the spirit of water. Aisha stands at the shore, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and peace. She understands now that the lake is not a threat to be feared, but a guardian that tests the hearts and intentions of those who approach it. The spirit of water appears fully, its form radiant yet mysterious. Its black eyes, once terrifying, now convey recognition and acceptance. It communicates silently with Aisha, acknowledging her bravery, respect, and understanding. The spirit's presence reassures the villagers that the lake will remain a safe and sacred place, provided it is approached with reverence and humility. Aisha realizes that fear, when faced with wisdom and courage, can transform into respect and harmony. The villagers gather nearby, witnessing the peaceful interaction between Aisha and the spirit. They feel a renewed sense of connection with their ancestral traditions, understanding that the lake and its guardian are central to the village's identity and well-being. Aisha becomes a symbol of courage, balance, and respect for both the mystical and natural worlds. The community learns that fear is not inherently negative but a force that, when acknowledged and respected, guides people toward wisdom and ethical behavior. The narrative closes with Aisha leaving the lake, a sense of serenity following her steps. The spirit of water slowly retreats into the depths, its glow fading into a soft luminescence that hints at its continued presence. The moral is clear. True strength comes from understanding, respect, and harmony with nature and the supernatural. The story leaves the reader with a lasting impression of courage, tradition, and the balance between human curiosity and reverence for forces greater than oneself. The ending not only resolves Aisha's personal journey but also reinforces the village's cultural heritage, establishing a lasting connection between the human and mystical worlds and providing a profound lesson about fear, respect, and coexistence.